Welcome to Layout Update 32. Sometimes you gotta go backwards to go forwards. So, here we are. Looks like a shark came up here and took a bite out of the layout. Anyway. I went in here and cut this foam out. Broke out all the plaster. So this is where the riverbed is, because you can see I used that stacked foam. I want to come off of this here straight with a rock wall like the one we have up here in Whitehaven, but it needs to go all the way down. So that's why I gave myself room to work here, so I can carve down and then I'll fill up to the rock wall and abutment. But on this side, the river is going to be tight against that rock wall, that the wall goes down into the water, because that is how it is in real life. So as we do that, the bike path will get raised up over here, come into here, cross the track somewhere in there, and then continue this way. And I think it's going to go, I'm going to curve it just a bit into this fascia. We'll hide the end of it here with trees, make a tree tunnel. That way you can't see where it meets the fascia. And then we'll just bring this up, because I do want to create the two mountains on each side. So this will come up a little, and then back here we'll bring the bike path back in, probably straight off the fascia underneath to go into Whitehaven. So the bike path won't be in this section of the layout. It's there, it's just that it would be, we don't have room to do it, so we're going to make it seem like it's there the whole time, but it's really not. So that is the plan going forward in this layout update. We'll work around in this area, and I said last update that we'll probably get into the track work up at the top. So let's get back to work and see what I can do. Okay, so I went ahead and set the bridge back in place. You can see where I cut out over there. And now I put that piece of foam in over there. So that will be our rock wall, our abutment. And it'll go over it, and it'll go into that retaining wall down to the river. So let's take a walk over to that side. So as you can see, it fills in this area, and the bike trail, once filled up in this area, will come across the tracks and continue up along here and disappear off scene. That way we can use this tight area to get as much elevation from the river as we can. The mountains are going to come up on the backside here and around the track, so we'll get that two mountain through the gorge feel there, and they'll come back up on this side here to give that feel that it's cutting through the mountains. We're going to lose, a lot of height here, but that's fine, because that'll give us our places to film in at these two scenes from. So that is where this is at right here. I'm going to glue this in, and then my next thing is going to be to start making some plaster up to fill that in, and I'm going to have to fill in from there over to here. And then once I get that done, we'll probably start some of the rock wall in here. So, we'll be back. Okay, folks, I just wanted to share a little tip that I do when working with the plaster. Save your 1-gallon jugs. It's a pain to clean that stuff out. You don't want to ruin a good container. Just use these. Cut them. Use this. I mean, it makes it a little harder to mix when it has the ridges inside there, but you don't have to worry about cleanup when you're done. Hard's in here, throw it away. Cut another one. That's what I've been doing. I really hate cleanup on certain things, and plaster's a real pain in the rear to clean up. So that's what I'm doing. So, and nice thing is you can reuse this a few times, because it's nice and pliable, like flexible. You can just take it after it hardens and beat it on the ground, and it'll come out, or take it outside in your garbage can and knock it out and reuse it. But my other one's gotten kind of really bad, so cut a new one up. And I thought I'd share that with you folks. So I'm going to get back into plaster in this section. So you haven't seen any of this, but I've went ahead and I've got from here an oxbow curve all the way over to there done. And you can see what our old retaining wall looked like, which I was happy with that wall. I perfectly was fine with that wall until I did the stonework for the abutments, and it looked perfectly like what I see when I'm up at the gorge. So now was the time to make the change, and it's looking good so far. And I am all the way over to here, so I have a form ready. I'm going to do another section. I'm only doing it in increments now. What ended up happening was I mixed up too much plaster and poured too much that I couldn't carve enough while it was wet. My hand cramped up. It actually didn't set up too quick. I just got tired. And so what I had to do was do a lot of that carving once it really set up and got hard. So that took a little bit longer. So what I'll do is do one section at a time. So if it does, I should be able to keep up with that before my hand gets tired. And if not, it's only a tiny bit that I'm going to have to do once it gets hard, which is fine. But now we're getting to the part where the wall is a little less as tall as in that section. And that should speed up this process to finish this up. And as soon as I'm done with the plaster on that, I want to start working on that abutment over there, or the two abutments over there, and the wall that goes down to the river. So that's where we're at. We'll be back. So you can see that I have my form in and the plaster's in, and I let it come up high on the back, and then I've been shaping it down to look like the concrete cap on top, because this portion of the stone wall has a concrete cap. So I'm trying to keep that look that I had before with the concrete cap. Carved it with the knife, and so this is still a little wet. So I'll let this harden up somewhat, and then I'll start carving. That's probably not going to be in this video. So we're about to wrap up this layout update. So the next layout update will be finishing right here. Moving along here, I didn't get anything else done here, but that'll be coming up. Coming this way, I got new track for in here from Lombards, and with a car that'll be in a mail call coming up soon, review video. But when I painted this track, I clear coated it, and when I was all done, I used one of those evil bright boys, and they're garbage. Don't ever use one of those. This track oxidizes and gets black 7 to 10 times quicker than the track I didn't use the bright boy on. And I don't want to have track that gets real dirty in that tunnel. So I figured now's the time. Just rip this out, replace the curve. This stuff will be easy to reach here, so I'm not going to replace these straight pieces, but that curve I did not want. So that's why you don't want to use bright boys. Moving up here, let's take a look. You can see with the bridge in place, all the pier washing, because you only saw that bit if you watched the washing video. So this whole section is now done. And there is the retaining wall on the back side. Really happy with the way that turned out overall. And while I was doing that, this is like a rock face I cut up and painted. I don't know. Leave me your thoughts on that. I just did it as practice off to the side here. Because if I have to bury it, I can bury it. If I want to blend it into scenery, I can blend it into some scenery. But I did that as a practice while I was doing that, because I had some leftover plaster. I threw it in there and tried to carve some rock face up, and I washed it the same way I did that. So there's that. And then I didn't do anything up in here. I still got sand just a little bit in there, but this is pretty much ready to be fastened in place. And the only reason I haven't been like working on that area is because this track here needs to be fastened with the bridges in place first, but I don't want to fasten the bridges in place, or this track that holds the bridges in place, until the river's poured, because it'll be easier to pour the river with the bridges out. So that is what's holding me up from moving up that way. So that's why I'm doing a lot of work in here, to try to get to the point where as long as I can pour the river and do this section and get the river to here poured, I can start fastening all my track in place here, and then I can continue with what I wanted to do up here. Like, I have a good idea, and I think that this stuff will move along, but I gotta stay and get this done. And that's basically what I've been doing. So I'm gonna end this video layout update here. I want to say thanks for watching. We'll run some trains. Check out the trains going across this bridge now that the abutments and piers done. And we'll see you over the hump. Take care, everyone. What is it? What's up top?